Come, come, come out tonight. Come, come, come out to play. Come, come, come out tonight. Alice, come out and play.
The cockeyed clock now read 10:34 p.m. when Alice went back into the packed barroom area of the Hatter. Taking a moment before returning to work, she stood in a corner and faced the wall, then just lost it and began crying after the dreadful offence that had just occurred. Tears now streamed down her pretty cheeks in care and concern for her recently departed friend. She really did need to get it together, and get it together quickly, and return to work. But before she could turn about to leave the corner, she felt the sensation of gentle gyrations, like someone was rubbing their pelvis area against her delicate derriere. Turning around, and right before getting ready to smack some sense into the offending predator, she saw it was Frank, one of the MHB&R regulars. Any woman who worked there knew Frank well. A few had even dubbed him Frottage Frank, because he was what they called a close talker and was far too touchy-feely. Alice wasn't sure if the story was true, but she'd heard from another worker a twisted tale about him. It happened before her tenure of working at this place. Apparently, some other girl made the mistake of accepting his offer to go out for dinner. Toward the end of the meal, he whipped out his wallet and removed something laminated. Frank told her it's his VIP membership card for an exclusive private club catering to the golden shower crowd called We the People, and they should go for after-dinner drinks. The girl freaked out, excused herself to use the restroom, and then made a hasty retreat out the back to get as far away from him as possible. Nearly as bad, this public pervert was a pitifully poor tipper. "Frank, what are you doing?" "Oh, Alice, I didn't know that was you. Sorry. Can you grab me another Bud Light, sweetheart, and just add it on my tab? I won't get paid until next week." "Oh, wait a minute, it's my birthday today." Tab? Now that's a big fat joke. Frank had no tab, because he was the Red Queen's brother, which by marriage made him the Mad Hatter's brother-in-law, so he never paid for anything. When it came to tipping, no matter how much he'd consumed during his visit, he'd usually leave only a coin or two that he'd had jangling about in his pocket, along with a below-average alibi of taking care of the server the next time he dropped in. It wasn't that Frank was such a bad egg, as far as anyone could tell. He was generally just gross, cheap, smelly, overly obese, and annoying. Besides, he had a reputation of drinking so much he'd sometimes fall from his bar stool and couldn't get off the floor. So they'd have to pick him up and put him back together again, so to speak, then set him up on his stool where he could just fall off another time. Frank would also try to scam the staff into thinking it was his birthday at least once a month or more. This was done in order to then make the argument that it was the Mad Hatter Bar and Restaurant's unwritten policy to serve free drinks to anyone on their birthday, which was not true, but when the Mad Hatter himself found out about the unbirthday drinks, he docked the pay off the unlucky soul who'd served those. One time, after Nida had brought him countless rounds, he left only 13 pennies atop the bar, then departed. Now, Nida had a hot temper, no one could deny that, but it really took a lot for anyone to get under her skin and up her craw enough to completely blow her top. But that night, after seeing the measly amount of the gratuity, she lost it. Grabbing the pennies, she rushed out the door to toss the coins in his face. But alas, Frottage Frank must have already rounded the corner and was nowhere to be seen. For a fat man, he could move swiftly when necessary. It was probably just as well she hadn't pelted him with his pittance, because she really needed this gig, and that fat fracker wasn't worth losing her job over. OK, now that we've lifted the lid on the topic of regulars, perhaps we've opened the door enough to dish some more. Some were normal, some were not, and some were not so normal, but not so much as to be a pain in the poor old derriere. As a matter of fact, she spotted one such individual drinking at the bar and reading a book, even though, in her opinion, it was too dark to read without hurting your eyes. The guy was somewhat of a mystery to most of the staff, although generally assessed to be of no harm. After getting Frankie's unbirthday beer, she went over to speak to him and said, "Hey, you'll never know what a crazy mixed up night I've had so far, and there are many miles to still go before I'm out of here." You won't believe some of... Stopping short as she spoke, she stared at the barroom reader. As with Nida, after morphing into Dinah, he too had ears atop his head. Unlike her sister's perky little ones, his were much longer and rather floppy. Much like her dearly departed friend, he was covered in fur, although whereas her siss's fur was white with random splotches of black here and there, his was simply a solid snow white. Another similarity to Dinah was he too had paws instead of hands. "May she who art in heaven help me," thought Alice. "He looks exactly like a white rabbit." The book-reading bunny rested his book on the bar and looked at her with recognition of their past acquaintance. The irises of the white rabbit's eyes were a burning pink colour, much like a summer sunset at a beach. Oddly, she took note that he now had a gold pocket watch attached to a long chain fob, something she'd never seen him sport before. "Are you okay?" he asked Alice with care and concern. "I'm not really sure, and maybe I've just gone insane, but I keep on getting this feeling that something's not right with the world, at least not this world." "This world? Well, that sounds more interesting than the book I'm reading, so why don't you just tell me all about it? I'm all ears." Then, as if to buy more time prior to concluding whether she felt comfortable enough to confide in him, she stalled by asking, "Why are you always reading when you're at our bar?" "Now, Alice, the reasons are threefold. One, it helps to discourage most people from speaking with me. But you, I like and feel comfortable with, and I'm happy when we talk, so present company excluded. Two, with these ears, I'm able to hear much all of everything. But with my poor eyesight, every day it's becoming increasingly difficult to see what's around me, which is why I wear these glasses. Since I fear I'll eventually go blind, I take every opportunity to read whenever I can, while still able. 3. Books are my mask. They allow me to surreptitiously study everything from around them, take mental notes, then hop home and write about what I've observed. For instance, the idea of looking around is ludicrous, since you may only look backward or forward, or right to left at the same moment. But unless one has a pair of eyes on each side of the head and another pair at the back, well, no one may truly look around all at once. 1, 2, 3, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Her female intuition told Alice she could probably trust him. So, first checking if any of her managers were watching, she sidled into the bar stool next to the white rabbit, took a leap of faith, and began to pour out her crazy heart to him.
Come, come, come out tonight. Come, come, come out to play. Come, come, come out tonight. Alice, come out and play.